NightCap recap. What up, players?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back, NightCap recap. Jim Berenger, Teddy Rapantis, recording here on the weekend for you. When you see it, hopefully you see it before the games kick off on Sunday. We missed our normal spot, busy week for everybody, but we had to get it in. We got to talk some football, got to talk some wrestling, got to talk a little bit of everything. Teddy, what's going on, man?
Jimmy, great to see you as always, man. Not in our regular spot, but always great to be alive in a December Saturday talking to you about sports. Jolly old St. Nick is coming around the corner. That means the playoff teams are shaping up in the NFL. There's a lot to talk about, a lot of games to recap, a lot of games to preview. So I'm excited to talk about this with you, man.
Exactly. Are you on the naughty list? Are you on the nice list? Are you being good this Christmas? Because if you're not being good, you know Santa's bringing that cold for you.
The people on the nice list are the ones that listen to the Nightcap recap. Shout out to my buddy Dan G from college, Seton Hall. He knows who he is. He had this Nightcap recap, a.k.a. Spitball and Sports, as his number one most listened to podcast in 2025. We hopped on here about a year ago, late 2024. We've been doing this here on Spotify and all your other podcast listening apps. So we appreciate anybody who's hitting the play button and listening to us, whether it's the whole show, a portion of the show, any and all support. You're on the Nightcap recap nice list. And if you're on the naughty list, you're just not paying attention because we're hitting everything on the head, man.
Dude, we are. We've been ahead of the game since day one. Everybody knows it. We're ahead of the game with everything. Bret Hart stuff, wrestling stuff, NFL stuff, college football, everything. Look, the business of the business is the Nightcap recap. So without further ado, let's dive into this thing. All right. We're going to go forward to go back a little bit, if you get my drift. So we were riding high when it came to the Dallas Cowboys, and we thought they'd make the playoffs. They have a semi-chance to do it, but it's a lot harder now after their loss on Thursday night against the Detroit Lions. Detroit, nice bounce-back win after getting shellacked by by Green Bay for the second time, which we discussed about in our last episode. Look, the running game got going for the Detroit Lions. They played really well. This is the offense we know and love. This is the team we know. They're able to spread the ball out. They were able to take any shot Dallas delivered, and they were able to match it. And the turnovers by Dallas just killed them. That's not winning football. This was pretty much a de facto playoff game because now the probability of the Cowboys making the playoffs is really tough, especially what's going on in the North and in the West. Very, very tough now for them to make the playoffs.
Yeah, Jimmy, absolutely. The problem with the Cowboys was they come out in the second half, the first possession of the second half, they're driving down the field, and Dak Prescott throws an interception. Now, a lot of people question George Pickens' play in this game. It seemed like he was a little disinterested, and it seemed like he wasn't attacking the ball and fighting for it, whereas he's been a dominant receiver the entire year, with or without CeeDee Lamb. Lamb went out with a concussion, and I thought all the passes were going to go George Pickens' way, and that didn't happen. Dallas had to rely on their number 3 receiver, Robert Flournoy. Javonte Williams on the ground had a decent game, but another problem with Dallas in this game was special teams. Detroit's starting field position was very good throughout the game. There was a couple possessions where they started at least at midfield or in their part of the field as well. So when you have short fields, it's easy to get the run game going. Montgomery had a 35-yard touchdown run. Jahmyr Gibbs, 3 on the ground. And Goff making plays, throwing it to Jamison Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, like you said, they bounced back. This is what they needed. Dan Campbell is a great motivator, if not a great football coach, right? So when their backs are against the wall, Detroit's been a talented team for the last 3+ years. This was, like you said, essentially a de facto play-in playoff game right here. And Detroit got a leg up to keep pace with the 2 teams in their own division. And now Dallas has to pretty much win out to even have an opportunity. So very disappointing, but Dallas has done this all year. When we thought that they're going to turn it around, like that game that they had a big game, and then they go and lose to Arizona. They beat the Chiefs, they turn around and have a stinker here. So Dallas kind of has to get it together, where this season's pretty much shot for them.
Yeah, I mean, look, Jahmyr Gibbs, 3 touchdowns. Didn't have a lot of carries, but he had the 3 TDs, huge. Yeah, David Montgomery had the big touchdown as well. Jared Goff just managed. I mean, not a pedestrian 309 yards. It's still a pretty good game, but he only had the one touchdown. The defense stepped up the turnovers. Detroit trying to keep pace here because, they were talking about this. And I want to bring this up to you. When they made it to the NFC Championship game the one year, and I think they lost to, what was it, San Francisco? I believe they lost to.
2 years ago.
2 years ago, Dan Campbell said that this might have been the window for them to win. And, they're not sure if they're going to get back. And maybe it was closing and this was their best opportunity to get there. A lot of people are like, nah, they still got this window. Maybe he was onto something.
He might have been, because last year they had that number one seed. They were dominating everybody. And then the Commanders got red hot and came in there and beat them. And Detroit had that bye week. And they lost, right? They didn't even get to the conference championship. And then this year, of course, we see what's happening. The Bears are up. The Packers are beating them twice. And the Lions are kind of inconsistent. So maybe Dan Campbell's on to something. But I'll say this. I mean, look, he never loses belief in his team. He's going to continue to go for it on fourth down as much as we scream and cry about it on this podcast.
I hate it.
Well, that's one of the key reasons that also probably cost them that game against the Niners 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Because they had a big lead, and all they had to do was get a couple first downs, and there was a couple situations there, 4th and 2 and longer, that they went for it and they didn't get it. So it never made him change his ways. He's continuing to coach the same way because he knows his guys. And look, losing Ben Johnson might have been a bigger thing than we thought, because look at what he's doing with Chicago. So perhaps Detroit, their window is closing a little bit, but I always will have the belief in this head coach until proven otherwise. I think he's a really good coach, and we'll keep these guys in the fight at least.
Well, speaking of staying in the fight, I said this at the beginning of the year. Bold prediction. I said if the Jaguars and the Colts could play well, it would be a 3-team race in the AFC South. The Texans' defense is one of the best in the league right now, and look, stopped Indianapolis. They got Kansas City this weekend. We talked about it a little bit over the last week now. Look, this team, if they get it together offensively with C.J. Stroud, we know what the defense can do. We've seen what this defense has done to really good offenses. If the Texans' D gets to Patrick Mahomes and company, I know Andy Reid has done it before with this team, but if the Texans pull this upset, game over for Kansas City. It's over.
Yeah, this is a de facto playoff game for Kansas City coming up. Actually, both teams, like you just said, Houston's been on this run here, sparked by the defense, probably one of the top 5 in the league. I think they have the number 1 overall pass defense this season. Yeah. And their offense has been kind of middle of the pack, mediocre. Like you said, if they could get anything going with Nico Collins in the run game and C.J. Stroud can return to his rookie year play, then perhaps this is the team that could give fits to those top half teams like Denver and New England that are coming out of nowhere at the top of the conference now. And I was actually kind of shocked that they went into Indy and won. I know Danny Jones has that fractured fibula. It's a cause for concern because the schedule is going to be really tough here at the end. We said it. Started off hot. It's really going to be, though, what is he going to show us in that second half of the year after the bye? And this injury is affecting it because they're not able to get a good pass game going, and it's affecting John Taylor, too. He's not able to get the run game going anymore. So Houston, and now the Indies got Jacksonville. The winner of that game's taking first place in the South. And the way the Jags have been playing, I can't count them out. I think you got to give that ball game to the Jags just because I feel like they're ascending and Trevor Lawrence is playing better. So Indy's got to figure it out quick because they might be started out great, but if Houston and Jacksonville get going here, they could be an odd team looking out.
Yeah, they need to, right? And they got to get that run game going. That's why Jonathan Taylor was so effective. The pass game supports the run game and vice versa. And look, maybe they're falling behind in games too much. Maybe they're not believing in it enough. Got to stick with the run game, man. Look, I love what Indy's done. I love what they're doing. But you have to say to yourself, okay, tough. We got to stick with the run when we're playing against Jacksonville. Their defense has been playing well. Offensively, I'm just not sure. Like at some point, like we're seeing it with Pittsburgh, with Aaron Rodgers, an injury like that to your quarterback. Is it wise to keep him out there? They don't trust Anthony Richardson They don't have another backup, so they're kind of forcing in Danny Jones to be out there. How much does he really have left in the tank with that fractured fibula is my only concern, because he started the season really well.
Yeah, and that's the problem, right? You don't trust your backup in Anthony Richardson, right? I mean, like there's a reason they brought Danny Jones in, and we had the training camp competition.
Right.
And we were all shocked. I'm like, I don't think Danny Jones is going to start for this team. And look what's happened so far. And it's unfortunate that he got an injury, because I would have loved to see what he could have done. I would have loved to see the Colts continue this run that they've been on and see if Danny Jones can rejuvenate and redeem himself from all the crap that he got when he was with New York and all the poor play he had. So it might be too much to ask for, like you said, with this injury. Like their hand is forced in this situation. And I guess they're going to go until the wheels fall off, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, look, I want to see what Indy can do here this week against Jacksonville. Sauce Gardner being hurt, though, with the defense, that's going to be a problem. That's a killer. You just traded for him because you're like, you know what? We're in a position to make an all-in run here. No pun intended, all-in run. But now Sauce Gardner goes down, and that's going to affect the defense. And, look, they got the Niners on the schedule, too, in a couple weeks. On my birthday, actually. In Indianapolis, how are you going to stop the offense of the Niners coming in there if you don't have Sauce Gardner? So going to be really tough for Indy to get any traction going here if they don't win this one.
Yeah, I mean, look, and we've probably we're seeing a lot of teams in the AFC separate themselves from New England, Denver. Buffalo got themselves a nice victory in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Can the Bengals, legitimately, can the Bengals, if Joey B is healthy, can the Bengals come out of nowhere and win this thing, win this division?
Listen, man, you want to talk about we're talking about de facto playoff games as the theme of this episode, yes. I guess. Yeah. Cincinnati's going into Buffalo, potential for snow. Joe Burrow in the playoffs a couple of years ago, when they made their Super Bowl run, I think, went into Buffalo and beat Josh Allen. He's capable of playing in any weather. People want to say, the bad weather. Joey B at his A game can play anywhere. So Cincinnati, this is a huge game for both teams again. Buffalo's got to maintain staying at the 7th seed, right? Because New England's so far ahead. And Cincinnati wants to win to keep pace with whoever wins between Pittsburgh and Baltimore. So this is a huge game at 1 o'clock on a Sunday. Tune in for that one. Two of the best quarterbacks, not only in the conference, in the entire NFL. That's going to be huge. So, I mean, listen, if Cincinnati somehow finds a way again 2 years in a row to be in the mix late in the season, that's just a testament to how good Joe Burrow is. And why can't you get a defense around this guy to help him out? Imagine what this team could be.
Or an offensive line. Jeez.
Well, that too, right? Keep him protected so he's not always getting hurt all the time. But yeah, man, I think Cincinnati's going to be interesting. I want to ask you a question about the New England Patriots, because now I'm hearing a lot of talk about they had the 4th place schedule. Most of the teams on their schedule have been below 500. Really haven't played anybody really good outside of I guess Tampa Bay and
Buffalo. What about Buffalo?
Right, Buffalo. So what do you have? People are saying they're comparing this to last year. The Commanders had the 4th-place schedule. It helped them all the way to a conference title game. I think, though, New England has shown that even though they've got this easy schedule, you play who's in front of you. They got the coaching. Drake May's taking steps here in year 2, and they got the playmakers. So I think New England, I don't like the hate that they're getting because of their schedule. I think they're right there as being one of the best teams in the conference. They've shown it.
Look, again, they'll get a tougher schedule next year. That's what happens.
Right.
So we'll see what they're made of. But Carolina's no pushover. They beat the Bills.
They beat Tampa Bay.
The Falcons are, a decent team.
At the time they played the Falcons, they were good.
They beat the Bengals. Joey B's back. So,
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, look, I think there's a lot of hate out there because no one wants to see New England, be good. But the problem is we know Mike Vrabel's a really good coach. Drake May's a really good, they drafted and developed so well. Travion Henderson's there, I like this team. I really, really like this team. Me too. I hate to hate on this.
They looked really good on Monday, beating your New York Giants. A lot of people out there thought Jackson Dart coming back, maybe this game will be closer. Mike Vrabel
sucks. The team sucks.
I know. I like this little anecdote. Mike Vrabel, the last game he ever played was that 18-1. The Giants beat him in the Super Bowl way back in 07.
Yeah,
Prevented the perfect season. I think the Titans have played the Giants since then, but because he's with New England, I guess Vrabel wanted to make this game as physical as possible, and it was a beatdown. I mean, look,
yeah.
New
I mean,
England
it was a
handled the
beatdown. I
Giants.
mean, first of all,
So-
I didn't like the fact that Dart played in the game, but
Me either.
that's besides the point. But I get it. Like
Yeah.
he's gonna go out and play. The
But
kid's
look,
gonna,
if they're
first
gonna,
of all, look, I understand his mentality. Oh, it's the way I play, bro. You need to learn how to slide and like protect yourself because you
Yeah.
ain't making it to year 3 if you keep playing like this.
you're not Josh Allen. He thinks he's not as he doesn't have the stature or physicality of a Josh Allen. He's got to understand that.
Yeah, but
you
even
can play
Josh
this
Allen,
way.
but even Josh Allen's learning to slide.
Right. Josh Allen has finally learned to protect himself a little bit, and he's a bigger guy. Look, Dart, when you're in college and high school, you could be the big man and play like that. In the NFL, you're going to get hit out of bounds like you did. You try to run up the sideline, someone's going to hit you like that every single time. We want to see Dart have a long career because he's exciting. The Giants fans want to see this franchise turn around. For his own good, he needs to have a coach in his ear. Hopefully the new coach they hire is like, hey, listen, buddy.
Whoever it is.
We want you to be in here and we want you to play. So agreed, though. I love the way he plays, but if you're going to have that kind of game plan, I don't know if Kafka is just trying to get a couple wins here to save his job or make him be a guy that's in the running for the head coaching. Just put Jameis out there.
He's not in the
It's
running
over.
for the – look, I'll tell you this right now. Kafka's not in the running for the head coaching job for next year. They're moving on from everybody.
Yeah.
That's what I was told. They're moving on from everybody. This is why I said when they fired Brian Daboll, who was the scapegoat and all this thing because Shane Bowen's defense was awful, you don't take the interim tag off a guy like Kafka because it's clear he can't be the head coach. Through a couple games, it's already noticeable that he's not head coaching material. So they have to figure out who the next guy is going to be. Now, the question is, for the Giants' sake, what are they going to do with the high draft pick, what they get? They're obviously not going quarterback, but if you can get an offensive lineman. Look, we'll go back to Detroit for a minute. Their general manager took risks on Gibbs and on one of their offensive tackles in the first round and got maligned for it, got criticism for it. But if you get the right players at that position, your team can be successful. Again, not to harp on this thing. Yeah, you have Cam Scatterbo with the fourth round pick, and he's out, and it's unfortunate. I just look at it. I say, imagine you had a veteran running back in there like a Saquon Barkley, just to give more protection to a guy like Jackson Dart or a quarterback. Again, mismanagement, poor roster construction. They need a veteran type coach, whether it's Mike Tomlin if he ever leaves Pittsburgh, or just somebody to come in there. Not Kevin Stefanski because he's not good either. He's just not. You need a veteran coach similar to Tom Coughlin to come in there and put structure and order into this team. And it's not about the individuals anymore. It's about the logo. That is what matters most.
Agreed on that, man. The Giants have to be very careful in their selection because it's very important for the future of the franchise. They got a lot of talent here. You need the right guy to come in there and see that this thing develops properly.
Yeah, exactly. You have to do it the right way. If you can't do it the right way, they're going to continue to struggle, and everybody's just going to point to why'd you fire Tom Coughlin and Jerry Reese and all that. Now, we go over to the NFC for a minute. We talked about it before. The Eagles are reminding me about what happened the year before they won the Super Bowl. Remember, all of us were out. Shout out to Rock Bar in Clifton. We were there. We watched Tampa Bay Bucks just destroy the Eagles. To me, It reminds me of that year when you're in and out with offensive coordinators and you're trying to figure out, all right, what's our offense like right now? The Eagles' offense, they're not flying. It's not fly, Eagles fly right now. It's sputtering. They're barely getting off the ground. I just don't like what I see. And I know maybe it's Kellen Moore, maybe different guys are here and there. They're just not a cohesive unit, and it could spell disaster like it did that one year in the playoffs.
Yeah, look, we're not, and I don't want to condone. The story came out. Philadelphia Eagles fans were going to Kevin Petula, the current offensive coordinator's
Yeah,
house, and throwing rocks and
I
whatever
don't
they were
condone
doing.
that stuff.
We don't. Yeah, I mean, we don't need that. Yeah, the offense stink. His system isn't working out. Clearly, who was it that left? That was the offensive coordinator. You just said his name.
Wasn't it Kellen Moore?
Kellen Moore, correct. Who is now the head coach of the Saints. That offense led them to a Super Bowl, and they won the Super Bowl. This definitely reminds me of 2023, right, where they started out like 10-0 and they just kind of sputtered.
Yeah.
And offensively, look, the problem is like AJ Brown, when you have a squeaky wheel receiver like AJ Brown, the offense is now Jalen has this in his head. I got to get the ball to him, right? And you could see it. He's getting everything, but to the detriment of the rest of the team.
Yeah.
There's no involvement of Devonta Smith. Saquon Barkley's barely getting any big runs like he did last year. Yep. No one else in the offense is getting involved. I know that the loss of Lane Johnson on the O-line was huge. They lost a couple offensive linemen to injuries this season. But the system and the scheme is not working, and they've been slowly deteriorating as the season's gone on to the point where the Bears just came in there and beat them up, ran all over them. Defensively is what was where we thought they had a strength, and they got ran all over by two different running backs. And Jalen Carter's going to miss this game on Monday night against the Chargers. I don't think the Chargers are on that level to beat Philly. This might be another get right for Philly, but hey, man, whatever they're going to do in the playoffs, I'm not as confident anymore that they can hang with the Rams or a Seattle. And I don't want to be a homer, but even the Niners. If the Niners go in there. So Philly's got to figure things out quick, or it's going to turn into 2023 for them real fast.
Yeah, and look, you look up and down that schedule, right? Like, it's not easy for them right now. And look, there's a lot of de facto playoff games like this week. And look, before we go into the NFC West, Minnesota has a problem, and it's a big-time problem. Like, they overplayed their hand. And J.J. McCarthy's hurt. They had this Brockmeyer kid play, and it didn't work. If they wanted to go back, I think they would have kept Sam Darnold. Either franchise tag him, pay him, whatever, but allow McCarthy to sit and learn how to play the game in the NFL and develop his passing game, because he's just not a good quarterback. He's just not. And that's who he is, and the guys that watch know, and the guys that think they know that are on ESPN don't know. And that's okay. That's fine. I look, I'm not trying to take shots at Mel Kiper and all these guys, but it's clear if you actually watch the games at Michigan, he couldn't throw the ball. And this is a problem. And Minnesota, it was a 14-win team, and Justin Jefferson might ask for a trade. Like, what are we doing? You had a guy, and I get Sam Darnold, Cinderella, the shoe fell off, everything turned back into a pumpkin. But this was a 14-win team, and you decide to go to a de facto rookie quarterback. I'm sorry, bad decision making. Bad decision.
Yeah, usually, and it's surprising because Kevin O'Connell, I considered a really smart head coach. I believe he was in the running for head coach of the year. I'm not sure if he won it, but he's smarter than that. So I guess he just must have the ultimate belief in J.J. McCarthy, right? There must be something there that he saw, and perhaps, maybe he still needs more time, right? He's been injured a lot, but every time he's in there, it doesn't look like he's got the intangibles or the ability to be a good NFL quarterback. Like you said, overplayed their hand. We talked about it here. Sam Darnold should have stayed, or at least keep Danny Jones, because Danny Jones was there too in your building as well as your backup. So either one of those would have been a better situation that you're in right now. And Justin Jefferson is not getting the ball. I don't get it. Even if you're a rookie quarterback, like who was it, Bromner, whatever they had in there.
His name, yeah.
And JJ, if things aren't working for you, just throw it to number 18. It doesn't matter like who or what's covering him. Just get the ball to him. Look at Joe Flacco with Cincinnati. Just came in there and threw 21 passes over to Jamar Chase. That's all you need to do.
But how many worse quarterbacks did the Vikings have before Darnold got there, and Justin Jefferson was still putting up numbers?
Yeah, Nick Mullins, Joshua Dobbs. Both those guys were able to sustain number one receiver numbers for Justin Jefferson. So it's not a good sign if you can't get this guy the ball to be one of the top NFL receivers, like number-wise. It's a real problem.
Yeah. So Minnesota's got real issues because Chicago is better. Ben Johnson, by the way, what a celebration the other night. Awesome.
Yeah.
Love that dude. Bears, guys, wait for it. Clip's coming because they're making the playoffs. I'm telling you right now, they're making the playoffs. Um, Green Bay playing a little bit better. Detroit's right there. Then we got the mesh that is the NFC West: Seattle, Rams, San Fran. What do we got, baby? What do we got? Who's coming out of there?
Hey, look, the Rams, shocker. The Carolina beat them, right? I mean, Carolina's been such a weird team this year, right? I don't know what to make of them. Look, they're sticking around. They're making it tough on Tampa Bay, right? I mean, it's going to be an interest. That's a two-team division. I don't think either of those teams have a shot at the wild card because of what's going on in these other divisions. So for the Rams to go into Carolina, I don't know if it was a West Coast going to East Coast situation. 31-28, it was a close game, but Bryce Young was against a vaunted Rams defense, had another game of his life. It's such an odd, inconsistent thing. So the Rams surprised me there, but I think they're going to – look, they got Arizona this week. They're going to be fine. They're going to play Arizona twice. Baby. Yeah, they got Arizona twice in these last 4 games. So I think the Rams are still the class, but Seattle, man, is perhaps the one team that nobody wants to see maybe because, look, they shut out Minnesota. Teams coming out to the –
baby.
They're not, but look, and I think they got like an easy back half here. These last couple of games for Seattle aren't going to be that tough until they play the Niners, I think, the last week. But whoever's going out to the Pacific Northwest against that defense and Seattle, who's clicking on all cylinders, I saw Vegas now has them as the second favorite behind the Rams to make a Super Bowl. Those are the top 2 teams favored to make a Super Bowl, the Rams and the Seahawks. So, And then you got the Niners who on a defeat going to Cleveland where they've had a lot of issues these last couple of years. Handle the pass rush. Myles Garrett only 1 sack. Brock Purdy got his swag back. Looked better than he did in that 3-pick Carolina game. They go into the bye, rest their guys, get McCaffrey ready for these 4-game stretch. 9 wins. They got Tennessee coming off the bye. That should be a win to get yourself in line to potentially, run at a division crown. It's going to be tough with the Rams and Seattle. I think looking at it, everything, I'm going to say Seattle somehow, because they got to play the Rams again. I think Seattle pulls this out and wins this division. I don't know what you're thinking, Jimmy.
No, I mean, I still think I'm going to stay with the Rams just because Sam Darnold, I'm just not sure.
In the big games, right?
In the big games, I'm just not sure what Sam Darnold is. And he's become a really good quarterback. But I'm just not sure what he is, right? Like, I'm just not sure. So for that reason, the pedigree, Matthew Stafford, again, they had one of those games where West Coast team coming east, they lost. Shouldn't have happened. It happened. They lost. Okay. I still expect the Rams to win the division. I think they're the better team, but Seattle's right there. I think me personally, I could see all three of those teams making the playoffs. I really can.
At this point, they're all in right now. And look, the game that's going to decide it is when the Rams go into Seattle. I think that's in 2 weeks from now. That's going to decide the division. And that's why I think that environment's going to be like Legion of Boom era type of atmosphere in Seattle. I
can't wait to watch that game.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know that those fans are going to know that that's one of the most important games that franchise has had here in the last couple of years since like Russ was there and those guys were there.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a huge one to watch. The Niners, all they need to do is just take care of their business on their end. And look, if Green Bay beats Chicago this week, which is very likely, the Niners can move up. They're at the 7 right now. They can move up to 6, and the Bears would drop to 7. So the Niners can get some help in moving up, even without playing this week. And I think, like I said last week, that's the key for them. I don't want them to sit at 7, because then if you're at 7, you got to go to like either a Philly or a Rams or Seattle. You don't want to see that. So if the Niners can figure out to get a 5 or a 6, then they'll be dangerous come January.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And speaking of, you mentioned it, right? Like, let's be honest. Like, look at it. We're at week 14. We looked at the slate. We got a couple of big, really, really big games, like really big games. We already had Detroit and Dallas. Well, you got Steelers and Ravens, great game. Colts, Jaguars, really good game. Bengals, Bills, really important game. Bears, Packers, really important game. Texans, Chiefs, really important game. And even Eagles and Chargers on Monday night, really important game. Like, coming off of a week where it was like, so in the schedule, they bounced back lot of important games here on week 14 that could determine a lot, especially for some teams near the bottom of the wild card playoff standings, and even those teams in there right now battling for the division.
Yeah, I agree, Jimmy. I think you just named all the important games this week, and they all have division. The outcomes are going to determine some divisions, playoff seeding. I think Bears-Packers is probably the biggest one to me right there.
Yeah.
Look, they're going to play each other twice in the next 3 weeks. This one's in Lambeau. I'm trying to get a read on this. I think Vegas has it as the Packers are favored 6.5. Here's why I find it odd, because I think Carolina and Cleveland went into Lambeau and beat Green Bay this year, right? I know Green Bay has been playing really well. They looked really good on Thanksgiving. Chicago has been, every game that they've had has come down to the wire. So everything tells me I think this game should be coming down to the wire, should be close. I think Chicago can go in there and make this an interesting game and even win this game. But is Vegas making you say, "Oh, I want you to go that way because the Green Bay is really going to trash the Bears"? I mean, I don't know what to think. It all falls on if Jordan Love is the Jordan Love we saw here last week in Thanksgiving.
If the Jordan Love is the Jordan Love we saw on Thanksgiving, the Bears defense is okay.
Yeah.
It's not the best. It's not Houston level defense.
No.
Because if it wasn't for, like, the Bears defense should have 2 wins against Minnesota. If it wasn't for their defense, they don't, like, again, they lose first week because of the defense.
Yeah.
Look, Ben Johnson, I saw some stat. I think he's like 2-0 or something like that, or a little maybe he has a winning record against Green Bay. That's all I know.
His opening press conference as a Bears head coach was he can't wait to beat LaFleur in Green Bay. I mean, he actually said it at his press conference. He's like, I can't wait to beat the Packers twice, is what he said.
Like, so, and he has a winning record
as
a coordinator with Detroit.
Right, exactly. So there's something there.
But yet Green Bay still owns Chicago for like the last.
Well, then that was all Aaron Rodgers. Let's say that was prime Aaron Rodgers just owning Chicago for like a decade.
Well, yeah, but Jordan Love was beating them last year too.
Yeah, because Chicago's been a bad team.
Yeah, they're
right. So it's going to be fun to watch.
I think I'm gonna be honest. Like, I've gone out on a limb with these Bears picks recently. I'm gonna stay with it. I think Chicago goes in there and wins. Like, I'm being honest.
Let's go.
Like, I'm being honest right here. I think Chicago's the better team. I think defensively, if they could play a little bit smarter, we know the offense can match Green Bay. But again, what Green Bay team is playing this week? If it's a team against Detroit, all right, that's one thing. I'll be wrong. But if it's a team that we saw against Cleveland, why not?
Yeah. Well, I want to give some respect to Green Bay's defense. The last couple weeks, Micah Parsons and those guys, they are clamping down on tight end production and run production. They've been really good. So if anybody's going to clamp down on this Bears offense, Green Bay in Lambeau could do it. That's going to be the key, I think, on that side. But the fact that these two teams are playing twice in 3 weeks, like, I love that bold.
Huge.
I love that bold pick by you. Do you think the Bears could sweep this team? Because I think they're going to split. I think Green Bay is going to win this one, and I think when we get to Chicago, perhaps Chicago can win the game there in Chicago. But this is going to be fun to watch, man. I want to see, like, this is going to decide this division most likely. With these
100%. I can't wait for this. Like, I can't wait for this game. It's going to be awesome. So look, NFL, it's going to be awesome. Great week of games. What else you got on tap right
now? I was going to say, what do you think about Steelers-Ravens? Because, again, Lamar and those guys, very inconsistent, although they've been winning. Steelers just can't get – Mike Tomlin, they're talking about this is it for him. You get Aaron Rodgers, this is the year you're finally not going to go above 500. Something's got to give there. Both teams have been very bad and inconsistent. Cincinnati can swoop in.
I think not Steelers. I think Ravens.
Baltimore?
Baltimore.
Just because they're home, right? They're home, right?
Yeah.
And this is another one that
and
one
Rodgers
right here.
is still hurt. Like,
yeah, he is.
He's still hurt. Like that. Like, if the Ravens D could actually figure it out and rush the quarterback, like, he'd be on his butt again.
This is another one where these two are going to meet twice in a span of a couple weeks. So we're going to really determine this division as well. So I think Baltimore at home is going to take care of this, but you never know. AFC North battle.
Real quick on this. Steelers before we wrap up. If it is the end of Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh, it's not because the Pittsburgh Steelers fired him. It's because they decided it was best to move on, because that's how Pittsburgh rolls. They don't fire head coaches. Bill Cowher walked away. retired.
Yeah.
Like, Chuck Noll retired. Like, that's been the lineage. It's been Chuck Noll to Bill Cowher to Mike Tomlin. Like, that's what they do. Like,
agreed.
they
He'll walk away. He'll say,
they
I'm
don't
done here.
fire coaches.
Agreed on that.
So, again, going to be interesting NFL this week. You know what's really interesting this weekend? No break, because we're just going straight through. No break.
Tell me, Jimmy. Tell me.
College football, it's the playoff. Well, actually, it's not the playoff. It's the invitational, because we need to get this right, too. It's not an invitational when 12 people pick and choose who the best teams are. It's not a true playoff. Because if it was a true playoff, it'd be like the NFL, where we take the best records, and that's who makes the playoff. Sorry, everybody else. So that's one thing. Second thing is a lot of scenarios at play right now. Especially everybody's watching this game right now that's happening as we record BYU Texas Tech. BYU wins this game. There is a really good shot, and I hate to tell this to Mark, that the Notre Dame Fighting Irish are not making the playoff. I hate to say it.
Wow.
Because they're taking both teams from the Big 12. Because
that would be a shame.
Both teams would be, one team would beat the other team. Texas Tech would be like, look, we own a win over the Big 12 champion. And, it's hard to beat a team twice in a year. Right now, BYU's playing really well. But again, anything can happen. It's still early. But there's a lot at stake here because we know Alabama and the winner, doesn't matter what happens in the SEC championship game, both teams are going in. There's a good chance that the ACC champ may not make the playoff because I think Miami might be the team that goes in regardless if Virginia or Duke wins. There's a part of me that just says that. Everybody's crapping on Tulane and James Madison and all the power. They're like, oh, they need to have their own playoff. Would you say the same thing about March Madness and the NCAA tournament? We love the tournament because the mid-majors are there. But we want to have a select club, have this country club mentality about college football. No. We then make it a professional league then. Make the SEC and the Big Ten the big two conferences and figure out who's making the playoff from there. Again, there was nothing wrong with the computers. There was nothing wrong with the AP poll. Can't have 12 people decide this thing. Now, obviously, Big Ten champ, the winner and losers getting in. So Ole Miss is in, all these other teams are in. But again, everybody's pointing to Notre Dame, Miami. Again, it's a popularity contest. It's made for TV. It's an invitational. It's based on reputation. Everybody wants to point to, Florida State. Oh, they didn't have Jordan Travis. Yeah, because the team didn't look the same without Jordan Travis. How can you put Ole Miss in without Lane Kiffin? We don't know what the team looks like because they didn't have a game because Lane Kiffin's an idiot. And the organization and Ole Miss should have said, you're gone last Monday before the Egg Bowl. Like, you want to go to LSU? Fine, there's the door. We'll play Friday with a new head coach. And we didn't know. 2016, again, I point to it. Ohio State lost to Penn State. Penn State won the Big Ten championship. But because of Penn State's reputation and not really doing anything, Ohio State was in. That's the way it is. Like, it's a popularity contest. It's made for TV, and it's an invitational. And people are just, like, losing their minds. Oh, got to get rid of the weekly TV rankings. Dude, it's made for TV. They want you to talk about it. Like, get it through your head.
I will say Mark's going to be very upset to hear this news about Notre Dame. He really wants to see them in the playoff. It would be a shame, but hey, look, this is like you said, the invitational. So they're going to decide who's involved here and who's not.
Again,
right?
If Texas Tech beats BYU, then Notre Dame's in. Like, there's
so we're rooting for Texas Tech if you're a Notre Dame fan.
If Texas Tech beats BYU, Notre Dame's in. It's flat out.
Okay.
The flat out.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
They're flat out in. Like, there's you can't tell me they're not in because of where they're ranked.
Look, it'd be fun to have Notre Dame in there. I hope we get a good college football playoff overall. I hope we get some good games out of this.
The issue is it doesn't matter the format. The first round has always sucked. Whether it was just 2 semifinal games, last year quarterfinal or first, there's always been blowouts. There's always going to be blowouts because they're good teams and they're not good teams. And I hate to say it, but there's never 12 good teams every year that are going to win the national championship. There's 4 to 8. That's it. And no matter if it's 16, 20, whatever the amount is, somebody's going to complain that they're not in. It's what happens in March Madness. We're up to 68, 70-something teams. Who cares? Like, everybody talks about who didn't get in. Well, what about the teams that did get in?
That's what we want to talk about. The teams that got in, right?
Right. Who cares who didn't make it? They had a regular season and they didn't win. That's why I always said it. In college basketball, all these upsets early don't mean anything anymore because half the teams make the tournament. Who cares?
Well said. Well said, my man.
Who cares?
Who cares? Who?
You play regular season games in college football. They're supposed to matter. These championship games are supposed to matter, and they don't anymore.
It doesn't matter anymore. You're right.
None of it matters because of popularity contest. It's your name.
They should matter. I like the method of these games matter, right? Like if you lose, it's going to impact you at the end of the year. That's what it should be.
Right. Like again, but there's the history of it. Like I think Ohio State the first year they won the national title in the 4-team format. I think I want to say they lost to like West Virginia week 2 or something.
Right.
That loss didn't matter because they ran the table the rest of the year. Like it didn't matter. Losses later in the season matter more than losses earlier in the year. That's how it's been. And people want to talk about the inconsistency of committee. They're not inconsistent. They've actually been consistent. You just want things in your favor. That's really what it is. So that's my little rant on college football. Look, I think the game's been ruined because of the playoff. I like the BCS. I didn't think they always got it right, in my opinion. And the game still mattered because if you lost, it basically meant you weren't going to the national championship game. Like you had one loss, depending on who you were not going to the national title. So to me, that's huge. Gonna be interesting there. You know what else is gonna be interesting? How come our boy LA Knight continues to get screwed?
Got the shaft on SmackDown, man. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was predictable. I knew Gunther was probably going to win this thing. Once this final got set up, unfortunately, they've been talking about this for months, that Gunther was going to be the guy. Nothing against Gunther. I think he's a great professional. He's going to be one of the greats by the time his career is over. But LA Knight has come up short so many times. The trigger has not been pulled. We've gotten so close. We can only take Triple H saying good things come to those who wait so many times before we realize it's BS.
It is total BS. You know why? Because I look at it. Again, they're continuously doing this Daniel Bryan thing. This Bryan Danielson thing in WWE for years, that was organic because the crowd wanted it. That's not how you build superstars. I'm sorry. You give them wins, and you give them important wins. And look, I love Trips. I think he's done a lot of good things, but his booking has been predictable. The writers and the creative staff that he has stink. The shows are not that entertaining anymore. Like, I feel like I'm going back in time to when I started to lose interest in the product around 2005 and I found TNA. Like, I'm at that level again.
Well, the problem has been, I think the Raws have been solid, I'll say, the last couple of weeks. My problem is the PLEs don't have the same, they don't hit the same. They don't have the payoff anymore. It's kind of like they're just setting things up for the next event and never really giving you the payoff or, you know, the continuation of a story that we deserve. That's what I've noticed here. I noticed, and it's weird because Triple H used to have banger NXT PLEs every single month. You had to tune in to watch what was going to happen at the PLE. Now it's kind of flipped. It's like, okay, the weekly shows are pretty solid, but the PLEs are not that exciting anymore.
Yeah, because
I don't know if
it's series wasn't that good.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, is it like TKO? Is it just like a TKO influence? Does he have the freedom to do what he wants more so on Raw and SmackDown because those are the weekly shows? And then now we got the ESPN partnership for these PLEs. So I don't know what it is. Something's missing. They need something to spark it back up. I know we got rumors of a potential Cody and Roman 3, which would be awesome.
Who cares?
I'm excited. I'd love that, but we need a good story for it. We need a good story.
Look, I get it. They want to.
It's the best thing they have. It's the best thing they have right now. They're 1-1. They kept them separated. It's the closest thing they have to Rock and Austin. And we need, they need something here, but the story's got to be good though. We need something. It's got to be something that I'm excited to tune in for.
I would have rather gone Punk and Roman, to be honest.
Well, look, they could still do that. It seems like they made their decision. Braun Breaker's getting this push. Cut a hell of a promo on Monday night.
That was really good. It was really good, but I'm just like, again, we're running back stuff because, again, this is the same problem we've had for years. We don't know how to create new stars.
Look, they're trying to do it with Braun Breaker. I think that's what the goal is right here. I think that's why we're not. I think the original plan was Roman and Rollins. Rollins got hurt. They're going to have to change things up here. I think they wanted to also try Braun and Roman. Not happening. This is what I'm just reading the tea leaves from what I'm seeing here. If we do Cody and Roman, let's make it epic. Let's make it meaningful. Let's make it really good. We need a good story. If you're going to go like this is the third in the trilogy. But yeah, I mean, look, I agree with you, man. There's something missing. And LA Knight, I just don't know when we're going to get the payoff with him.
Look, okay, so I heard John Cena talk about how he wanted this to be about NXT guys in the future and building stars. What better way to like, if you don't want to bury a guy because that's your reputation, because now we're hearing Bruce Pritchard talk about it and we've heard a lot of people talk about it. He liked to bury talent. Well, what I was holding on to this because I couldn't wait to say this. This Gunther Cena thing, and with Gunther probably going over, reminds me of Brock and Taker at WrestleMania 30. Why does Gunther need this? Who cares? Oh, he's going to tap out a guy who never tapped out? Cena's not going to tap out. He's going to fade like Joe did with all those other guys in a Coquina clutch, and that's the match. Cena's not tapping out. LA Knight over Cena makes more sense because it propels him to the main event level. Gunther's already there. Like Brock.
Well,
Brock didn't need that. Brock didn't need to defeat the streak. If it was Roman at WrestleMania 30, everybody would have loved it.
Oh, agreed. And Gunther already has the distinction of saying he retired Bill Goldberg. So they want to add a notch to his belt. He retired Goldberg and Cena. Okay. This leads me to believe, I mean, look, I know Cena will do the right thing and he'll take the loss. I mean, is there any world here where John Cena wins his last match?
I mean, I could see him pulling the card and be like, no, I'm not losing.
Yeah, I don't know. Cena's been very professional.
I think Cena is gonna see the lights. Like he'll have his back to the mat. But there is a world where maybe Cena's like, you know what? He hears the fans. Maybe give him something good to go out with.
Yeah. Look, he's been really professional in everything he said. I mean, if you listen to his comments, I got to listen to some of these podcasts. Maybe there's some subtle things there where maybe he doesn't want to say that he wasn't happy with like how this retirement tour went. He's been a good professional and said, hey, whatever they throw up against me, I'll go with. Whatever story they're throwing out. We've been hearing that it's a collaboration with him and Triple H. Okay. But John Cena is always going to say the right thing. I think maybe he's trying to make up for some of the earlier stuff in his career where it was put out by guys like David Otunga and other Nexus guys that he don't want to put him over. So maybe that this NXT thing is his way of saying, you know what, it's about the future. I feel like he's always kind of been that guy, but maybe there was a time where, hey, I'm going to pull the card. I'm the top guy. You know, I deserve this.
It is the Nexus thing because with Wade Barrett,
Yeah.
if you listen to everybody who was involved in that, Wade Barrett was supposed to beat him.
Yeah, and I listened to Otunga on CVV talk about Cena like hours before the show, said, nah, don't want to lose. And even the guys on his team, and I've heard Jericho and Edge talk about this, saying we should lose this match, but it didn't work out that way. So listen, John Cena could pull whatever card he wants. We know he can. I think he's a good professional, and he's going to go along with whatever they tell them. But agreed on what you just said. LA Knight would get propelled big time. Cena ain't going to tap out. His MO and motto is never give up. It's not going to happen.
No. So real quick. So one of the guys we follow on Twitter posted that Jericho posted on his old WWE Tron on his TikTok, the original countdown.
Right.
So,
and I'm thinking he's coming back at the Rumble if he's coming back.
I think he's coming back at the Rumble.
Yeah, that makes the most sense to me.
I think Jericho's coming back at the Rumble, and I think that's what he's going to do. But to finish on the Cena thing, I think if Cena was really, truly about it, he said, you know what, Gunther doesn't work for me, brother. Give me LA Knight. We have something here. We have a story that we never finished from when I was special guest referee.
Yeah.
Let me do it.
Gunther's got no connection to John Cena. John Cena Sr., his dad coming out saying that I don't like Gunther. He's agreeing with us. But you're right. There is a story with LA Knight. There's really nothing with Gunther. So I don't know. Do we get a world where Gunther gets taken out in the back and something happens? I mean, do we get a world like that, or is this just going to be a match and that's it?
It's going to happen. Like
it seems like it's all she wrote here.
In my world, yes.
Yeah.
In my creative world, in your creative world, in our action figure world, in our wrestling buddy world, where we can make better matches than the company, absolutely.
Yeah.
In this world, no. We're living in TKO's vision, and that's what it is.
Yeah, it seems like it's all she wrote. Everything John has said is, this is it, my last match. You're only going to see me maybe for a Hall of Fame or like a one-off appearance, if that.
He said he's not coming back. He said to Bill Simmons he's done. He is done.
Well, he's gonna be there if they put him in the Hall of Fame. He's gonna be there.
Yeah, but he's
obviously
not wrestling anymore.
He's never gonna which I believe from the beginning that's it. He's a step slower, but he's putting out his good matches because, like you said, it's all I've got left.
Well, how about he wanted to work 220 dates?
Which is crazy. I think they did the right thing talking him into like not doing that because I don't think they did.
Yeah, he wouldn't have survived. Well, he would have had to take a year off from everything.
Correct. Yeah. So. Hopefully it's a good one. 1 week from today, John Cena's final match. Unbelievable to think we've been following this guy since 2002 when he showed up to now where we are in 2025. Hell of a career. And we're going to talk about it. You know, we'll have an episode here where we just talk about his career and his impact at some point.
I'll say this. I hope in my creative world, Dave Bautista just beats up Gunther and just has the match.
I hope they have a thing where guys from his past show up and just acknowledge him. I hope we get something like that. Whether Batista shows up and takes somebody out, which would be sick if that happened. I mean, I'll go crazy if that happens. But I hope we get a world where some past guys show up.
I just want to see Batista's pyro. That's really what I want.
I walk for miles.
Dude, that's a great intro. But guys, look, we're ahead of the game on it. We're telling you what's going to go down. It's too predictable, WWE, NFL. We love it. We love the college football. You know where to be, man. Spitball Sports, Specialty Media, YouTube, IG. You know where to follow. That's the bottom line, son, as Steve Austin told the gorilla.
And before we get out of here and you give us the sign-off, 130-second rant on LeBron James.
Absolutely.
The streak is over. 10 points a game for 1,297 games. Made the game-winning assist the other night. Had the opportunity to continue the streak. Passed it up. Gave it to his teammate for the game winner. He could have taken that shot. Whether he makes or misses, it would have went to overtime. He could have easily got the record at that point. I heard some detractors, as per usual, come out and say, well, he's keeping himself in a blowout game to try to keep that record going. It was a 20. They were going to lose. They're down 20. I'm not going to fault him for that because there's a lot of guys. Mikal Bridges is one from the New York Knicks last year. To keep his Iron Man streak going, he started the game and checked himself out within 5 seconds. There's guys that stay in games, and Josh Allen did it too. He started a game, took a snap, and then checked out to keep an Iron Man streak going. If we're going to have that, I have no problem with LeBron staying in a blowout game to at least get 10 points. I have no problem with that. At least he's like trying for it. I'm going to say that, I just want to say that the people that come out and say he's selfish and that's all he thinks about, and they asked him afterwards, they won the game. He made the right play. He's been doing it his whole career. That was the nutshell of his career. Find the open player and make the right play.
I think the bigger issue, and I don't have an issue with it. I really don't care about that. I think some of the people took issue with the fact that he was talking it up to some of the, I think it was the Suns bench looking for dinner plans in a blowout game.
I agree with that. He wasn't paying attention. I agree with that.
That part, I think, is what people have more of a problem with than the 10 points. Like, I don't have an issue with what he did. I have more of an issue with the fact that he took his mind off the game and was trying to make dinner plans or whatever he was doing with the opposing bench.
I agree. I agree, and I think from what I've seen this year, look, he's definitely looked much slower and not as good. He can't jump as me personally, just watching him play, I think this is it. I know he's the type to be like, let's have a retirement tour, quote unquote. But I don't know. I think the more I watch him, the more I think by the end of this year, he's just going to be like, you know what? Like, he's got the sciatica. He's got these lingering injuries. I mean, like,
I think he might be. This could be his last year. I'm not saying this is it.
I think it is.
I think it might be his last year, being honest. Like, Father Time's undefeated for a reason.
Yeah, and watching him, I think Father Time finally got him. I think so. We'll see as the season goes on, but I don't think there's a world where he comes next year and plays like at least 50 games for what? For what are you going to do? Like score 10, like 5 points a game? So we'll see what happens.
The great ones know when to retire and when they know they're not the best. When they're not playing to their potential, they take it off. We always play to our full potential.
Always, Jimmy. We never take a day off.
Unless we're sick, guys got bad voices, whatever. The Nightcap recap is always here for you people. Just know that. Just know it. The isness of the business, right, Teddy?
Absolutely, man. Always here. Lock in. Like I said, you want to be on the Nightcap recap nice list as we get to Christmas. You don't want to be on that naughty list and get a lump of coal.
No, don't do that. Whatever you do, don't do that. Guys, Nightcap recap, Specialty Media, Spitball and Sports on the IG. Follow us, Jim Berenger, Teddy Repantis. Guys, take care. We'll see you soon.
Peace.